All right, we're back here at Song of the Day, coming to you from the Rock Cave. Mark Pierce, your host. Today is Saturday, May 9th. Cheers to the weekend. We're going with someone today. You might notice that the background's a little bit different, and if you're gonna guess, you're right. But I don't know if you can tell who that is. I'm sure you can, but today is Billy Joel's 71st birthday. Now, at first, you're going to say, well, Mark must be a huge fan because he's got this collage, this giant collage framed, and he must just be a big fan. Truth be told, this is not mine, it's just where it resides because this belongs to my sister-in-law, Caroline, who made this in high school, I'm gathering. It weighs a ton, and it's here, and I did dig it out, but she is a particularly big Billy Joel fan. You can ask her any trivia question about him, and she'll answer. As far as Song of the Day is concerned, truth be told, for me, I have a love-hate relationship with Billy Joel. There are some songs that I really enjoy, and then there's some songs that I'm not particularly a fan of, and I haven't always been a Billy Joel fan. I felt like somewhere in the late 80s throughout the early 90s or beyond, it was just that you heard the same 6 Billy Joel songs, and I was tired of those. And then because of my family's love for Billy Joel, and there are lots of them in our family who are big fans, I was able to revisit some of his other songs and become a fan. Billy Joel, obviously a New Yorker, born in the Bronx. He did not graduate from high school, by the way. He was in his senior year, and by the time he got to the end, he was short some credits. And rather than graduate, he decided to sign a record deal. And that's what he did. And then almost 25 years later, he submitted the essays to his high school and was able to get his high school diploma in 1992. As far as songs go, I guess the introduction for me for Billy Joel was probably My Life, because that one was on American Top 40, so I think that's probably the earliest memory of a song for me. I like that song. Lots to like about Billy Joel. His debut album, The Stranger, I mean, that could be a greatest hits by itself. That had Moving Out, Just the Way You Are, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, Vienna, Only the Good Die Young, She's Always a Woman, and the song The Stranger. I would say currently, right now, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant is probably up there for one of my favorite songs. It's actually Billy Joel's favorite song, at least that's what he says. It's his favorite song of his, and he plays that, I think, every time during his residency. I was even a fan of his later work, the song River of Dreams. I really like that song, and there was some pushback from people. I think there are some people who don't really care for that song, but I thought that was a great song. He's part of that 30 club. If you really sat down and looked, you'd have to say there's easily 30 songs from Billy Joel that you like. His Greatest Hits Volume 1 and 2 is one of the top-selling albums of all time. Now, just so you know, when someone puts out a double album, one sale of a double album counts as 2 units when it comes towards like gold and platinum records. So that Greatest Hits Volume 1 and 2 sold about 11 million copies, but it counts as 22 million units. So that puts it up there as like the number 4 best-selling album of all time or something like that. And obviously he put out Greatest Hits Volume 3, and he might even have a Greatest Hits Volume 4. I mean, how can we not talk about things? I mean, great songs. Piano Man, obviously. Moving Out. Pressure. What else we got? We Didn't Start the Fire. That was like a resurgence in college for us when that song came out. MTV. That was very popular for all of us, and everyone wanted to memorize all those words. As far as Song of the Day is concerned, I was thinking of going with The Stranger, because that's a song that I learned about much later, and I think that's a great song. If you haven't listened to the song The Stranger lately, give it a listen. But I'm going to go with my earliest memory of buying one of his albums. The first and only album I ever owned from him as a record would have been Glass Houses. And that was a great album, obviously. But for me, Sometimes a Fantasy has always been a song that I love by Billy Joel. I don't get tired of that song. I think it's awesome. So we're going to go with Sometimes a Fantasy from Billy Joel for Song of the Day. Shout out to Caroline and the rest of the family that love Billy Joel. And have a good Saturday. We'll see you on the flip side.